What's up, Eagles Nation? What's going on, NFL world? How you doing, division rivals? This is Steven Hyder with Gate City Sports Channel, sports channel where the cerebral NFL fan comes for about 10 minutes of daily content. All right, guys, we're on the eve of Thanksgiving. Hope you guys having some time, to be with your family and, hopefully looking forward to some good food. But I want to come on today and I want to talk about something that is kind of rearing its ugly head in conversations. And it's getting a little frustrating for a guy like me who kind of understands concepts, especially when it comes to quarterback play, to hear other people who clearly don't have a grasp on quarterback play give an opinion about something that they clearly don't understand that well. What I'm alluding to, guys, is the discussion around what a half field concept is and why NFL teams might utilize it. And I think some people only focus on one aspect of why a team might use it, not understanding the full grasp of why a team uses such you know, a design. So today we're going to jump into that topic.
Gives you hope as you move forward.
What are your thoughts on the marriage of scheme and quarterback?
All right, guys, let's jump into it today. Let me provide you with a little round the table discussion to have with your family because let's be real. If you're Eagle family, if you got a family full of Eagle fans, there's no doubt this kind of question is going to pop up and there's going to be some disagreement. I'm going to tell you straightforward. That question is very pointed. And what it's getting to at the heart of, guys, it's pointed into getting Doug kind of into the answer, but at the same time, it is circling around the bush. And essentially, what he's asking is Carson Wentz a good fit for the scheme you're trying to run? I think it's a fair question to ask. And let's listen to how Doug Pederson tries to explain himself in this situation here.
What strengths have you identified with Carson, and how has the offense kind of been tailored to fit that?
I wanted to include that second part of the question because as someone who's had issues with anxiety before, like I had like really true issues like what Brandon Brooks is going through to where like, I would start breathing in and the air would feel like ice crystals. I would get the tunnel vision and I would lose consciousness. Like I've been there. I had to do a lot of crap to get over it. Like it's not an easy thing to go through. I'm pretty good at picking up little telltale signs from people. The reason I know that he was anxious about this question and this question kind of hurt his feelings a little bit, he starts doing some weird stuff like licking his lips repeatedly, and he does this a lot in press conferences, especially if he's feeling uneasy. And he does you could have the sniffles, but the amount of time that he does it, I mean, come on, it seems pretty obvious what's going on here. The question clearly made him feel a little unsettled because the first part of that question is specific to Carson Wentz being a fit for your scheme. The second part is kind of, what have you done? What have you done, Doug Pederson, to try to adapt yourself around Carson Wentz's talent you had?
His strengths, you love concepts where.
I apologize, guys. I'm having to chop this up a little bit just because he's so unhinged by the question that he's doing a lot of stalling techniques. So just give it a second. He's about to get into the heart of it.
I don't want to say full field concepts, but half field concepts where guys are, vertical concepts, for instance, down the field.
For some contextual background, guys, what he's referring to there, I'm trying to guide you as he's talking here, guys. He's referring to what's really known as kind of the half field. It's called the half field triangle, and it's this concept about how like if you're limiting yourself to like pre and post read. But give me a second, I'll get to those points. But if you're limiting yourself to one half of the field, then what you're looking at is building both a short, medium, and deep route into what's called a triangle read. And like literally, if you look at it on film, the way you can tell that that's happening is there's a physical triangle on the actual film on the field.
Maybe a third element coming into his vision. Those are all things that he's successful with.
So from what I can tell that Doug Pederson is doing there, he's kind of trying to walk back the statement a little bit because the preconceived notion is if you're in a half field offense, that's generally speaking a quarterback that struggles with progressions, but he's trying to walk it back so people understand that Carson doesn't struggle with his progressions. That's not the issue. But when you're having new pieces come in and out, when you're having things like that, it's just a way of speeding the offense up and then making sure that like you can move the ball vertically. So what he's talking about is a pre and post snap adjustment. So you have this built-in post snap, right? This half field offense, the triangle, that's a post snap thing. And then pre snap, you have another route or two that if you like what you see pre snap, maybe you're not going into that half offense, you're going to those pre-snap reads instead. That's what he's referring to, from best that I can tell.
Um, Obviously, the quick passing game, being able to throw slants, being able to throw the ball to the flat.
Hopefully, I'm not the only person who feels like maybe Doug Peterson isn't doing such a great job explaining himself here and answering the question that was asked to him. He's good at throwing throws into the flats and slant routes. Like, I mean, wouldn't an appropriate answer be like, oh, he's a skillful quarterback who's got a big arm, he can fit things into tight windows. He's really, that allows you to do a lot of things across the middle of the field, in routes, slant routes, and in post. You know, to me, that I think that's what the reporter was looking for, and then kind of like how we're building the playbook around that. Like, this seems like he's just trying to spin around the question.
Those are the things that as we construct these game plans, we think about them.
I mean, the question has clearly unhinged him a little bit here, guys, and like he's not making a lot of sense. But these two connected points are very important. So he's saying like, look, the things I just talked about that preceded this are how we like to try to game plan. We adjust to the opponent we have, and now he's going to talk about this second side of it, which is now we have to discuss what we have available to us. Which I think a lot of the criticism is coming from us, which is, are you building an offense that's successful around Carson Wentz? And are you really adapting to not only your competition, but the players you have on hand to put yourself in the best situation? Maybe not throwing the ball 45 to 50 times a game.
We got to think about our personnel and what we have, obviously, that week going into the game.
To begin with, guys, I want to dispel the myth that only young quarterbacks who are struggling with progressions utilize the half offense. It's just not true. It's not true. This is said by people who don't really understand the quarterback position and watch a lot of film. Because truth be told, one of the most dynamic offenses in the NFL and one of the most veteran and probably elite level quarterbacks in the NFL utilizes this particular half offense concept. And that's Sean Payton and Drew Brees in the New Orleans Saints. They're a big proponent of the quick timing offense, which is generally speaking going to be run out of a half offense. So I just want to dispel that myth right from the start. Now, the second part of this, what I want to show to you guys to add more value to it is I'm going to show you an example of what I think is the Eagles clearly running a half offense. And once again, it comes on a very controversial play, that throw in the flat to Miles Sanders, and what I'm seeing there. Why I think it's a half offense, and I'm pretty certain it is. And basically, why I think Doug Peterson might be wrong, that why even the half offense doesn't work if receivers aren't great at running their routes, which I don't think is the problem with this particular play. But if receivers aren't good at running their routes, they don't gain separation still, and your offensive line can't even hold for 3 to 4 seconds, you're in trouble. Like, not even the half offense is going to bail you out. If you got trouble with the offensive line, you're done. Doesn't matter who your quarterback is. Miles Sanders, Dallas Goedert, and Greg Ward Jr. are your triangle. Okay, guys, did you see the triangle? If you didn't, just give me a second. I'll throw it up on the screen and kind of walk you through it. But basically, triangle is pretty easy to see once you're really looking for it on film. You have kind of an understanding to look for it. But you got Miles Sanders, wow. Miles Sanders is in the flat, and he's the first point of the triangle. You got Dallas Goedert, who's kind of on like a post route or a deep in route. It's kind of hard to tell as he takes a weird trajectory there, but that's another point to the triangle. And you got Greg Ward Jr., who's running kind of more of a almost, it's like a hook. He's running a hook route, basically. It's a comeback route. He's the third part of it. If you really pay close attention, guys, to what's going on in the video, you'll actually see that Carson Wentz is clearly reading what's going on. He looks at, his first read is the flat. It's the first part of the triangle. And then to me, I can't really tell from the angle whether or not he actually looks down to Goddard or not. That part I cannot tell. But I do see right before he sacked, it looks like he's definitely looking at Greg Ward Jr. So clearly he's going through the progressions. The only thing I would have liked to have seen from Wentz is if we're talking pre and post snap. I showed you guys a little image from yesterday of Zach Ertz's route. And Zach Ertz, to me, if he looks pre-snap, and the way you would know this pre-snap, guys, is both linebackers bite. Both linebackers bite and go flying after Miles Sanders instead of one passing out the responsibility like they're supposed to. If you see that, then you got to know pre-snap, like I got this kind of in route that I can almost turn into a slant and hit, I can hit Zach Ertz on it and it's a first down. I mean, to me, I would have liked to have seen him make that read, but he doesn't. Your other basically route that's in there, guys, so your Your post snap route is the basically the half offense triangle. Your pre snap route would have been the shallower in kind of route that's coming from Ertz, and then on the opposite side you have a deeper in route, in which I'm not sure if that's Jordan Matthews or if that's Matt Collins, but it's one of those two. I think it's Jordan Matthews, but both of those are your pre snap reads. And look, opportunity was there, and I'll run the film for you guys again to see. If I'm honest, guys, I see separations from the wide receivers, but an O line that doesn't block. I know there's a lot of controversy right now floating around about this idea of the half concept. Can Carson make it through progressions and read defenses? I'm here to tell you guys, look, the film never lies. There are legitimate criticisms about Carson Wentz's mechanics. If you haven't seen my mechanics video, guys, go ahead and check out my video about Carson Wentz's mechanics. Look, there are times he's thrown off his back foot. You want to know why he sailed the ball on simple, like flat routes and screens? He's throwing off his back foot. A lot of that has to do with pressure being in his face and him not being able to set his feet right. But Carson's got to work on quick sets. He's got to set his feet quick when the pressure's getting to him like that. There's a lot of things with his fundamentals. If you guys want to go back to the fumble he had the fumble, not his fault that, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside ends up tripping Dillard, then the defender comes around. Like, that part's not his fault. But you know what? When you take the ball from the ball carriage and then you drop it down, it's going to get stripped. I told you guys in that video that, hey, if you drop the ball down, they'll strip it. And if you guys would like to see that before I close out this video, guys, I'll show you that play. So this is what I will caution people about the half offense before they start complaining. Understand this about the half offense. When we play a team like New Orleans, what frustrates us about New Orleans or like a team like New England? They don't hold the ball long. Do you think they're going through 5 progressions as fast as they're getting the ball out of their hands? No, not on every down they're not. It's incompatible. You can't do that. So if you're talking about a quick timing offense like New Orleans and like what New England used to run, I'm not too sure I would give them that today in the way they're playing, but in previous seasons, Tom Brady's been great at that. A lot of that is attributed to a half offense, guys. It's having a post-snap, easy, 3 progression read, and then you got some pre-snap routes, maybe a route or two built in as a pre-snap. When you got a guy like Deshaun Jackson, it's a beautiful thing to have because you put trips to one side and you put Deshaun Jackson on the other. You got 3, post-snap reads, and you got 1 pre-snap read with Deshaun, where if the coverage is what you like on Deshaun, you're not even worried about that half offense. You're hitting Deshaun. It's give and take here, guys. It's give and take. And there's a lot of people who just put stuff out there, guys, and be quite frank, they don't know that much about football to be real. I mean, there's nothing wrong with, everyone kind of starts with a very simple knowledge base, but it's ridiculous to me how many people will just throw opinions out there without really having a grasp on what they're talking about. Like, I always try to pay attention to anyone who might come in and say, like, hey, man, have you thought about, like, when they try to spin something a different way to me? Like, I was a little down on Carson Wentz's performance, and then I watched things like Brian Baldinger, then I watched, like, the Dan Orlevsky video, then I went through and I did my own all 22, and I noticed that, yeah, his mechanics were flawed, highly flawed. He's got to fix that. But Orlovsky really pointed out how the receivers weren't getting separation and weren't doing very good in their route running. And then if you look at Brian Baldinger, he's just like me, where he's looking at the offensive line going, yeah, I don't really want this guy to do if we don't block for him. So, yeah. All right, guys, I'm going to transition at this point, and I'm going to show you that play. I'm going to show you that fumble play, and we'll talk about the mechanics for a second, and I'll just show you that particular piece. I know J.J. Arcega-Whiteside takes a lot of crap on this play, but let me point out Dillard oversets as well. So I just wanted to show you the play first, and then I'm going to zoom in because I have to slow down the frame rates for you to see it, and you'll see where Carson drops his hand and how it gets stripped. Okay, so I'll zoom in on that part now, and I'll show you the actual stripping of the ball from Carson Wentz. You guys remember what I told you about going from ball carriage to ball shelf? The ball should never do what? If you remember in the video I did for the fundamentals, I told you guys, every young quarterback who goes to a quarterback camp, we're taught the 5 steps to a good pass. Steps 1 and 2 are all about going from ball carriage, right? Going from your ball carriage to your ball shelf. And what is the one thing I told you not to do, or it's going to lead to turnovers? When you go from ball carriage and going into your ball shelf, instead of going directly up with it, you go down and then up. If you go down and then try to come up, Every time. Defender's going to get it from you. There's a defender in sight. They're trained to look for that. They're going to go for the ball. There's a reason why Wentz keeps fumbling, guys. That's a pretty good part. That's a pretty good part of it. Yeah, the line's got to block better. Yeah, some of this is on the line too, but at the same time, like, you can't make those little simple fundamental errors. And he did that on that play. That was a fundamental letdown. Me personally, what it looks like he's doing is it looks like he's trying to reset his feet.